History was made at sea today as Carnival Cruise Line sailed into Cuba, the first U.S. cruise ship to do so in decades. Simon Hobbs was on board and has more on the new port in the cruise industry's biggest market.
Historic but controversial. Carnival's Adonia starting her voyage by being escorted out of the port of Miami by a large police and Coast Guard presence to protect from protests on her way to the open seas. On board, celebration for a new chapter in Cuba relations. The first ship in over 50 years to sail directly from the US mainland to Cuba.
I love my Cubans, and I'm happy to go and visit their country and their beautiful island.
A further softening of Cold War rules, this also the first opportunity in decades for those born in Cuba to return by sea. Carnival negotiators diffusing initial accusations of discrimination from Cuban-born Americans by persuading Cuba's military government to change its rules.
I think it's an opportunity for the people of Cuba to see the opportunities that should be afforded to them and that could be afforded to them. I'm a product of the opportunities that I've had here in the United States of America, and it makes me very proud and very happy.
By daybreak, the Carnival Adonia racing the last of the 250 miles to Cuba. Seas that during the Cuban Missile Crisis witnessed the US Navy block Russian submarines from delivering nuclear weapons to Fidel Castro. But now, 54 years on, and with diplomatic relations restored, an historic arrival in Havana for an American cruise ship.
You know, the reality is there was some controversy, but we had confidence all along, and it proved out. We're all here. We're taking everyone with us.
Of course, the Europeans and the Canadians, well, they've been vacationing here for decades, many of them on cruises. President Obama was here 6 weeks ago trying to warm up relations between the United States and Cuba. But Congress still prohibits Americans from traveling here in a strict sense of the word as tourists. The reason this ship is first in is because it's part of a new brand from Carnival called Fathom. Basically, they make the passengers do social excursions that fall into the exemptions of the travel ban. Now that Carnival's arrived here in Cuba, it's offering voyages every other week to 3 ports over 7 days. Applications to sail from rival US operators, Norwegian and Royal Caribbean, are also pending with the Cuban military. But the Castro regime is expected to confirm extra slots very slowly. After years of underinvestment, Cuban ports simply don't have the capacity to cope with many big passenger ships. So very few of the 160 vessels circling the Caribbean at any one time will eventually end up docking here. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Simon Hobbs in Havana, Cuba.